Hi everyone. Okay, so it is a Sunday morning. It's actually been pretty cloudy. It rained last night. Weather forecast is rain again, I think.
It's gonna rain until Tuesday.
Yeah. So our previous video, we actually did something that G really enjoys, gardening. I quite like it as well. Today we're doing something that is really exciting for me. So we are going to a Wolfdog Sanctuary, and for me, I absolutely love dogs. I am super excited. I wish we had picked a day where it wasn't so cloudy, but as long as it doesn't have like heavy showers, I think we should be fine. Yeah, we're gonna go there. We've picked the interactive tour, so they have different kinds of tours. We picked the interactive one, where a portion of it we actually get to sit down, interact with the dogs. I'm not quite sure to like what extent we can interact with them, but I am super excited. We actually contacted the sanctuary. They were really nice. We're actually gonna arrange a short little interview. We're gonna ask someone from the sanctuary a few questions so you guys can find out more as well. But yeah, I am so excited. Let's go!
And yes, you heard. Sorry. You heard that right. It's wolf dog, not wolf, not dog, but wolf.
Wolf dog. Yep. You'll find out more later. All right. See you.
But yeah, so we're going to head into two enclosures today. First one we'll head up is behind me to my right, Yamnuska, where we'll meet 3 high content wolf dogs. Then we'll head on over to Cascade to my left here, where we'll meet an upper mid and a low content. And I'll go over what that means once we get inside here. Feeling good? Are we excited to meet some wolf dogs? Yeah, nice. You're the leader now.
Oh.
But yeah, I'll get going with some pack introductions. So we're in the Yamnuska pack right now. We've got 3 high content wolf dogs in here. Essentially what that means, these animals are basically wolf with just a little bit of dog in them. So starting off with Kuna, who is the lovely grey lady who basically poked her head in and then pieced off. She's the reason that we're here today. So our founder and owner, Georgina, when she was 19 years old, pursuing her university degree, living at home with dad, she decided that was the optimal time to get a high content wolf dog, very quickly realizing may have been a bit of a dodgy decision. As we are the only sanctuary in Canada for wolf dogs, her options at the time were fairly limited. So ultimately she opted to change her entire life around and basically established this place in Kuna's honor. But Kuna was first adopted in 2009. No? Okay. It's like a game every day. It's like, what about this one? But yeah, so Kuna was first adopted in 2009. The sanctuary was first established in 2011. We were originally based closer to Eggshaw by Mount Yamnuska, which is where the name comes from. But we've been in this location specifically since 2014. So we've just passed 8 years here. And at the moment, we do have 33 wolf dog residents. So it's been going good. We've been... Wait, really? Nothing. Susie, do you want some? Yeah, so we've, like I said, we've got 33 wolf dogs as well as the occasional goat and chicken that come in. And I will clarify, the goats and chickens, they are friends, not food. We do not feed them to these guys. That would be very mean to them. They are also rescues themselves. So just to clarify that, because we get that question a lot. We don't do any breeding here. All of our animals are spayed and neutered. So any pups that we've had come in, they've come in from outside sources. And they've all been introduced to Kuna as an adopted child. And she's been one heck of a mum these past few years. So she's earned her retirement at this time. Zeus, do you want some? Are you going to be less picky than Kuna? I don't know what you want from me because I've given you all the options. So it's illegal to own a wolf, a pure wolf, unless Can you be patient, please? Thank you. It's illegal to own a pure wolf unless you have a zoo permit or you're going to be pelting the animal, but you can own a 99% wolf content wolf dog and have no background checks necessary. So you can make your own personal opinions about that as you will. Personally, I think it's a little bit sketchy, but you know. But yeah, so he's just turned 12, but that's not actually why he's got that lovely silvery salt and pepper kind of look to him. He's actually got a genetic condition that we call a black phase. And this is something that exists in our, Dad being like, son, that was my snack. But yeah, he's actually got a genetic condition called a black phase. So this is something that exists in our wild wolf populations as well, in our grey wolves. And essentially what will happen, a pup will be born all black with usually a blaze of white on their chest. And then with each shedding season, their coat will just come in a little bit lighter. So Nova, you may have just seen, he does know how to wave. He actually taught himself how to wave. So he's been doing these tours from a very, very young age. And basically, if he looks at you very, very intensely, it's because he wants the food that you have. And he was looking at one of our guests. Our guest went, "Hi, Nova." He was like, "Hi." And of course, the guest threw their food to him. And so he taught himself how to wave. So these animals are very, very intelligent. They are... They definitely are trainable to an extent. The difference between them and dogs is that they do lack an affinity towards humans, so they don't look to please us. Everything with them is transactional. So if I didn't have food in my hand right now, these guys wouldn't even be here. They'd be off in the trees. They really don't care. Definitely. So the lower contents, they typically will have that higher affinity. They still don't act like a domestic dog because, again, they do have that wolf in them and they have enough that it makes them not like a true dog. Having a low content in the home, we kind of say affectionately that it's like having a husky on crack, and that's saying something because huskies are nuts to begin with. So that just kind of shows you the challenges that come with having even a low content wolf dog. But you know, there are some that can be appropriate house pets. It's very few of them, and it has to be a person who is willing to adapt their lifestyle to the needs of their pet. And I think a lot of people, when they adopt an animal, that it's going to be the other way around. The animal, you know, adapts to their lifestyle. Stop it. Thank you. So as you can see with Nova, he's not really started blowing out a lot of his coat yet. He's lost some on his legs, but not really a lot from his chest or his belly or back. Zeus definitely is in the middle of fully blowing out his coat. These guys, they will lose 70% of their coat in this shedding event. So it is major how much they lose. And if you think, they do have a double coat, again, kind of like a husky, just much more intense. So they've got their undercoat, which is a really thick, I know what you're thinking, stop it. They've got their undercoat, which is the really thick, woolly, insulative layer that's kind of woven together and sits right up against their skin, and that's what provides them with their warmth during the winter. And then their outer layer, which is all of the stuff that sticks up on top of them, those are called their guard hairs, and that's what keeps them waterproof, essentially. So when they shed, it's all of that thick, fluffy stuff that they'll lose, and all of the guard hairs is what will stay. So basically, they originate from fur trade time. So between the 1600s to 1800s, fur traders were keeping wolves as captive to pelt them for their coats. They started crossing them with their domestic dogs. A couple of people have speculated that they did this to make the housing process of these animals easier, the animals that they would be pelting. Personally, I don't believe that to be accurate. I don't think they were pelting these animals. And reason being, if you think you cross a wolf with a dog, you are compromising the quality of that pelt and you're going to lose value on it. So it's much more likely they were starting up that exotic pet trade and getting these guys into the homes. But yeah, once you guys are seated, I'll hand out those treats again. If you don't want a wet hand, I recommend don't take treats. He's quite the slobber monster. It's quite moisturizing, but some people don't like that. So it's up to you. All right, mind out the way, pal.
Do you go out and look for rescues, or people just kind of know you exist and you typically get referrals?
Yeah, so we get our animals from a couple of different places. So, and again, it's usually that 6-7 month range where we'll have them dropped off to us. And again, it's because the animal is no longer a cute little wolfy looking puppy. It's an animal that is now destroying your home and peeing on everything because they're very hard to house train. So we do get a lot of owner surrenders. For us at the moment, our biggest factors are space and cost. So each of these enclosures can cost tens of thousands of dollars to build. And as well, we've got 160 acres in total. Each enclosure has to be an absolute minimum of 1.5 acres to 2 acres. And so obviously, and we can only put about 2 to 3 animals in each enclosure. So that is a huge factor on how many animals we can take in. So at the moment, we're pretty much at capacity. Something I've started kind of talking about a little bit more, because obviously our mission here is to rescue wolf dogs and also educate on wolf dogs. But something else we're really quite passionate about is talking about wolves and the challenges that those guys face in the wild. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the culling laws that have been going on with BC recently. So in 2015, the government released that they were going to be trying to kill off a bunch of wolves to help the depleting caribou population, which wolves definitely do hunt caribou. They obviously do contribute to their deaths, but they're not the primary cause of their basically drastically reducing numbers. Humans are. So deforestation and habitat loss are the primary causes of these animals dying. But unfortunately, the wolves have been the ones that have been blamed for that. So since 2015, they've killed 1,400 and something wolves. So this was originally supposed to end over the past year, but they've recently announced in January that they will be extending this laws for another 3 to 5 years. And they aim to, I believe they're doing it through aerial shooting, so basically someone in a helicopter shooting the animal down. But they're planning to do 200 to 300 wolf killings every year for the next 3 to 5 years, with the hope of eventually reaching a quota of 8,500 animals. So it's significant. And I don't say this as kind of a lecture thing. I don't mean to make anyone feel guilty about it. It's just something that personally I'm quite passionate about, and I think it's something it's important to have the conversation about it really and kind of bring it up to light, because I think a lot of people either just aren't aware of it, and the details are kind of a little bit mucky once it is released to the media. Again, a lot of the blame again for these caribou deaths has been put on the wolves when it's just not that true. The last time something like this happened was in Yellowstone National Park. And basically Yellowstone was first established, I believe, at the end of the 1800s. By 1925 or 26, I can't remember exactly, all of the wolves had been wiped out in that park. And basically the ecosystem just collapsed. And it wasn't until the reintroduction of, I think it was about 14 wolves in 1995, where the ecosystem started to flourish again. And again, with these animals being keystone species, they keep those ungulate populations under check and make sure that they don't basically reduce the vegetation to nothing, where everything collapses altogether. So these wolves are very, very vital to the survival and the flourishing of the ecosystem. So I think that's something that a lot of people have kind of forgotten, especially with the passing of this bill. So again, don't mean to lecture, it's just something I like to kind of bring up.
Okay, so we just went for the interactive tour. It was incredible. If you guys have the chance to come here, I highly recommend it. Even in the usual walk-around tour, they do have activities where they have someone in the sanctuary who would, answer some questions, give some information. So either way, you're definitely going to learn something. But as you can see here, I have Alex, who is the operations manager here in the sanctuary. So she's very kindly taken some time out of a busy schedule just to come speak to us. I have a few questions. I love this place. There are a few things that I want to know. Alex, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This place is beautiful. It's amazing that you've managed to maintain this, even though, and by the way, guys, this is a non-profit organization. So all the money that comes in is from people who come and visit, get stuff from the gift shop, and of course through donations, which I have a question and I'll ask about that a bit later on. But first one I do want to ask, so when was the sanctuary founded?
So Georgina Deckney is the founder of the sanctuary, and she founded the sanctuary in 2011. June is probably the right month. Basically, she actually got her first wolf dog, Kuna, who you guys probably would have seen on the tour.
Yes.
Kuna was Georgina's first wolf dog, and inspired her to start this place up. She got Kuna just as a pet, thinking she was kind of prepared and knew what she was doing through the research she's done, but pretty quickly she realized that a high content wolf dog does not make a good pet, and slowly changed her entire life around and started this place up. Yeah,
actually, and in the interactive tour, Sophie, who guided us through the tour, was fantastic, did answer a few of the questions that I wanted to ask, like things like, obviously the most important question, what are wolf dogs and what are the differences? So now you guys know about low, mid, high content wolf dogs. I did want to ask, like on average, how often do you have to rescue wolf dogs?
It really depends. And one of the really tricky parts about it is that it's not just a matter of when we're contacted, we can take in the wolf dog. We are at capacity, and we have been over the last few years. Mm-hmm. In 2020 it was October, we did our largest scale rescue to date. We actually rescued 10 wolf dogs and 3 sled dogs from a backyard breeding hoarding situation. Okay. So that really put us over. Yeah. We basically had like temporary containment for most of those animals until the next summer came. So last summer we were able to build the enclosures for them. So everyone is in their kind of permanent spots for the most part. But now we are slowly running out of space. And when I say we're running out of space, we're running out of ideal space for Wolfdog enclosures. So we're very fortunate to be on a big piece of land. We're on 160 acres. So there are options, but it just gets further and further back. But we just want to really make sure that our enclosures have lots of tree coverage. We can get water to them, all those types of things, versus just being like an open piece of land. They won't have the shade and things like that they need.
So yeah, I do understand that wolf dogs are actually up for adoption, but I would assume, and I don't know if I'm right about this, that their behavior would be very different or maybe slightly different from regular dogs. So if someone is looking to adopt a wolf dog, what are some of the things to note? How should their environment be?
Yeah, of course. So as far as adopting a wolf dog as a pet, companion animal, anything along those lines, there's a lot of things that have to be considered here. So one being that most wolf dogs are, it's going to be a matter of what range of wolf content they are. So as a rule of thumb, most of the time we say here at the sanctuary, mid and high content wolf dogs. So we'll just say for people that don't really know fully what that is, 50% or more wolf content. For those guys, they're going to really just be too instinctual in their behavior that they're not going to act like dogs enough that they would be happy in a kind of pet environment. I have seen people that have mid and high content wolf dogs, but essentially have a smaller scale setup as to what we have here. So they have an enclosure for that animal. The animal's able to live outdoors if that's what they prefer, and they have a companion animal, things along that line. So in those situations, it's a matter of, it's not so much a pet, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For low content wolf dogs, so under 50%, over 20%, just to give again a general range, a low content wolf dog can be a pet for the right person, but they still need a very specific home. So it is very rare that we do adoptions here at the sanctuary anymore. In the earlier years, we used to, but now we've definitely transitioned to more of a sanctuary where we're providing a home for these animals that really have nowhere to go. They can't be in the wild. They can't be pets. They really need to be in a place like this. So as far as a low content wolf dog that is suitable to be in a home, things that would be required, it might be a matter of they can live in a city if they've been well socialized. They might have to live on an acreage. Big thing with either of those is they need containment. You can't live in an apartment, a condo, or an acreage with no fencing or anything. We say, as a rule of thumb, a minimum of 6-foot fencing. What you'll see on some of our enclosures are 8 foot with a 2-foot lean-in at the top. And then there's also dig guards that go around the perimeters of the enclosures. They are master escape artists. So it's really important for especially wolf dogs in more like pet home environments that they're getting enough stimulation. For our guys, they have tons of space, they get tons of enrichment, and they really have no desire to want to escape. But for these low content wolf dogs that might live in a city and aren't getting enough exercise, things like that, they often are wanting to jump that fence and take themselves to the dog park.
All right, so for me, I love dogs, and we have dog lovers all around the world. And for me, I'm fortunate enough to be living in Alberta where I can come visit as often as I want. But for people who love the idea of a wolfdog sanctuary, they're not in the area, maybe not even in the country, how are some of the ways that they can actually support the sanctuary?
For sure. So we do have lots of ways that people can support us, and we are incredibly grateful to everyone that does. Some of the different options of ways that people can support us that aren't visiting us, we do have a little online store. So a lot of the things that we do sell in our gift shop here on site, we do have some of those available on our store. So people can kind of pick up some Yamnuska swag and also help us with kind of spreading the word about us. Those proceeds, of course, do go back towards supporting the wolf dogs. Other things would just be monetary donations, whether that be just a one-time donation, or even we have it's called our Kuna community. So essentially it's our monthly donor program. So not only are you donating monthly, helping to allow us to do what we do, you get lots of updates as to where your funds are going and all that type of stuff, which is really awesome. Those are kind of the big ones. Even honestly, just following us on our social media platforms, that really helps us to continue to spread the word about who we are and what we do.
Awesome. All right. So guys, I will put a link to the sanctuary's website, their social media platforms and all that. Alex, again, thank you so much. So that's basically our entire trip. I loved the entire thing. It was amazing. So I'm going to cut this camera down because I want to go down to the gift shop and get some swag. Alex, again, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Until next, guys. Bye-bye.